Hi and welcome to Positively Sparking, podcasts on internet marketing, online business, entrepreneurship and digital living. Today I'm with Aidan Lee, owner of Fit Roots. Aidan works with entrepreneurs in helping them reach their full mind, body and performance potential. Today Aidan shares with us his own ideas on why getting into the right mindset is the basis for transforming bodies and lives. Hi Aidan, how are you?
Hi Phil, great thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. It's good to have you here on the show, Aidan. You're the first fitness person we've had appearing here, so a new kind of chat.
I hope I can give you guys a different kind of value in listening that you're normally used to.
Hopefully so, I'm sure you will. So Aidan, tell us a bit about you, what you do and how you came to do it.
Sure, good few questions there. So I run a body and mind transformation coaching business called Fit Roots, and I'm based in the Slough area near Heathrow, if you're not sure what that is. And I've got a private studio which I operate out of, but I also do online coaching. And my background is mostly in martial arts. I've been doing martial arts, particularly kickboxing, since I was about 5 years old. And that's been going on for the last 20 years or so. But I've also studied Muay Thai, boxing, MMA, Wing Chun for a few years. But every time I did, I tried to seek the best of the best around that I could learn from, and of course bring that all together into one practice under one roof so I can give that to my students. And alongside that, I thought, okay, that's great, but I need to learn more. So I decided to embark on a journey of learning yoga since I was 15, and ever since then that's given me many vital skills which I hope I can pass on to you guys through some simple tips and simple things you can do. But also strength training, because as I say, there's no point being supple without being strong. So you have to have both, and if you're strong, that will help with all the things we're looking to achieve here today. And when you put that all together, I decided there was still one big thing missing. One of the things that people were missing in terms of results was focusing on mindset. So I studied philosophy at uni, and some people say, hey, where are the parallels? But when you understand that how the human condition works, I try and take what I learned from there and put it into here. So when I teach my students that we must focus on this first, mindset is the key and everything else will fall into place.
Very good. So there's almost every element of the human condition there, as you stated. There's the physical fitness, which you spoke about, the mental kind of fitness and the mindset. Mm-hmm. So all of those things were what really intrigued us to do this podcast with you today. So you mentioned they're coming from a martial arts background and then progressing into yoga later on and creating a practice that combines mind and body training. How does that work in practice? How do you operate a session?
Sure. Well, in general, depending on who I work with from a minimum of 8 weeks online or minimum of 12 weeks in person. So depending on what their goals are, it's very much more bespoke coaching. So it really depends on the individual, but at the end of the day, everyone breathes, or everyone needs to breathe properly. So one of the first things I focus on is breath work. So that will get people to the right state of mind. It'll also change their physiology from their core foundation upwards. And when you can breathe better, you're surprised you can do so much of everything else better. You're less stressed, you're less anxiety, you're more focused, you're more present. And that way I feel like I can actually relate and interact with people a lot better. So for the first week or two, I would focus purely on that, amongst a few other mindset things as well. But it would be a matter of, first when we interacted or met somebody, it would be more of a consultative process. We understand where they're at, what they need to achieve, understand when that needs to be achieved by, and also understand why. So these are the key drivers we can get to and make sure they focus on that when it comes to achieving their goals.
Very good. So you mentioned their breath work and how that's where you start everything from. When people come to you, how are they breathing? What tend to be the kind of states that you encounter people in that you want to change?
Mostly bad states.
That's why they're with you.
Yeah, exactly. From the culture we sort of live in today, we're all sitting, even now I'm sitting, of course, we're all sitting down, hips flexed in a 90-degree position. And most of the time, because we have such poor posture for the most part, our lungs are not actually breathing into their full capacity. So one thing you can do there is just open them up using breath work, but also key postural pointers and things like that. And already they can take a much deeper, much longer breath. But that's the biggest problem I see. And then from there, in terms of how that actually relates to breath, so we're meant to breathe through our diaphragm, which is basically through our stomach, almost inflating and deflating like a balloon. And if you see a little kid, for example, when they're very young, and you watch them breathe, they do that. Their stomach just goes in and goes out, in and out, all day long. However, as we've got older, we've managed to take that up to just through our chest. So we're actually limiting the amount of breathing we can do, and it's actually weaker breathing as well.
Amazing, isn't it? So what makes that happen? What is it in life that changes the way we breathe?
Various factors. One is definitely the poor posture, forward-leaning posture, and what's called kyphosis at the backside of your posture is where basically your spine is bending forward instead of being up straight. So that's one thing. That's one key thing there. Also, massive stress, especially people like us, business people, entrepreneurs, and those are the guys I mostly work with, entrepreneurial men. And we might be able to mask it well, but definitely we're overstressed, overworked, and underperforming physically. So what happens there is, as you hold all that stress in your body, you actually end up holding a lot more tension. So you basically reinforce the position you're in, whether that be a forward-leaning posture or whatever it might be, and that position right there is just going to get worse and worse and worse, and that stress will build up, that tension will build up, and if you're always locked in that position, it becomes much harder to breathe.
Wow. So you mentioned there that that's where you start, and from that point you begin to work on both the body and mind. But if we just talk about the mind for a little bit, and one thing that you said in your interview was that you ensure the mind is in the right place before even beginning. So how do you achieve this every day? I don't know what it's like where you are, Aidan, but today it's way cloudier than it should be at the end of July in Cornwall. So, on days like that where we wake up and the weather's not good and we've got 110 problems, how do you help people get their mind into the right place?
Sure. Again, it would definitely go back to the breathing, but even before that, actually, in the sort of consultative process, I need to understand why these, particularly the entrepreneurial business like man, like us is doing, is wanting to change our body, our minds. A lot of the time they won't admit that because of, ego, whatever, to other people, but in a confident sort of situation, they'd be happy to. But the point is that they sometimes say, or people say they want something, for example, I want to change, but yet they're still doing all the crash diets, the short-term solutions, instead of focusing on fixing something for the next decade, for the rest of their lives, effectively. So what they should really focus on is, in terms of mindset, understanding why it's important to them. So what we'll do is do a proper goal-setting process of, for example, I want to lose 10 pounds of fat by X date, and then we'll understand why. And then we'll use that as a driver for them to make sure anytime they want to slack and not do anything, to make sure, hey, we need to get back on track and we need to focus. So a simple way, like you say, on a rainy day in Cornwall, for example, to get yourself feeling good is to change your physiology. And again, the best way to do that is through various breathing exercises. I'll be happy to share, some with you guys. But all it does is increase your energy levels, increase your vitality, and has you ready for the day. If you can start your day like this, as you know, as a businessman, the best way you're going to carry on is if you start your day well.
Very true. Yeah. It's always easier to kind of start well and continue that gear than it is to start badly and try and change, isn't it, halfway through the day? That's tougher.
Exactly. I mean, we've all had days like that, especially as, in what we do. You end up doing something late and next thing you know, the whole day's ruined. But you just got to take each day as it comes and understand that you can always make it better the following morning, providing you've got a good routine in place.
Absolutely. Good stuff. So for a busy entrepreneur, what benefits do you believe working on the mind and body collectively bring? You probably mentioned some of those benefits already, but when you're meeting new people out there, let's say you're at a networking event, and really you only have a couple of minutes to talk about what you do and why it's good for someone, how do you describe that?
Sure. Well, in terms of like an elevator pitch, is that what you mean, or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I should have probably said it at the start of this podcast, but what I normally do is the way I kind of describe what I do, especially to men, because, we need to be very straight to the point, logical, and that's it, is, I'll introduce myself, say what I am, say what I do. But there's three key points that I found that really resonate more with men than anything. And one is they want to look good, they want to feel good, and they want to do good, whether that be in their business or for charitable pursuits or whatever. Secondly, they also want to get a better ROI on their performance and as a result their business. So if you can get people to perform better, they're going to get a better ROI, so they're more focused. And thirdly, whether most will admit it or not, they want performance in the bedroom like they have in the boardroom. So most people aren't performing there, and they need to sort that out.
There we go. So look, feel, do in all kinds of ways.
Precisely.
So do you think, you mentioned there that, your final comment there about performing in the bedroom as well as the boardroom. Do you feel that sometimes we put so much into our work that our life suffers? And there's always a balance, isn't there? There's always so much energy we have in life, and if we overinvest, something else is being underinvested in. Is that a common problem you come across?
Yeah, definitely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. Like it's a societal problem at large, but particularly in our field, people and the culture today is very much hustle 24/7. And, some people can do that, I guess, but not. The question is, how long will that last? And two, are they really doing what they say? I don't believe what a lot of these people who are saying, we're hustling 24/7 are actually doing that. I think it's a bit of a front. And if they're trying to sell something in relation to that, that might be the issue as well. But yes, it's definitely a big problem. People think if you want to act like a robot, then you better not have any human sort of tendencies. And unfortunately, we do. Or fortunately, depending how you look at it.
So you mentioned there about, some people saying, yeah, we're doing this 24/7 and everything is great, and giving us the PR story of their life, really, rather than reality. I'm guessing those are the kind of people that often say to you, Aidan, I'm too busy to do any of that with you. So what do you say to people like that? How do you change their outlook?
Precisely. I mean, I like to, whenever I speak with people, I like to, this comes from philosophy, actually use more of the Socratic method. So I'd rather them question them so that they come through this sort of questioning and their own realization to the answer instead of me just dictating, because at the end of the day, no one likes to be dictated to. So if they can realize, self-realize, it's going to be much more powerful than me just telling them. So that's one key thing there. But in terms of, actual solutions, most of these guys are saying they're working really hard all day, all long. But when you ask them these questions and ask them how productive, how focused, how present they really are on the tasks at hand that they need to get done in the day, you'll find that it's not always as it's said on the tin. So if you can say, well, what if we could improve your focus? What if you can improve your productivity? You being present on the task at hand. Do you think as a result you'll be more focused? Do you think as a result you'll get more clients or more business? And as a result, you'll make more money?
There we go. Good things to say, Aidan. So can you give us a couple of kind of client examples, a couple of people you work with, what they do, and how your work together has helped them?
Yeah, sure. So one of my clients has a property management business, and he's managing various properties all over the sort of local area. And he's gone from he's also a type 1 diabetic as well. So managing a business and his health, managing to take that as a priority to then also having better productivity and boosting his business, his income, his bottom line as a result of that. So it does work. I mean, if you can perform better, there's a simple formula. You can perform better, you'll make more. And whether that be just a direct formula or also in the interactions you have with people, you notice how I'm sure you will have seen, many people who need something healthy in their life, but they're lacking vitality. And that comes across when you speak to people, when you meet people and things like that. But even the confidence and the impressions you'll make upon other people is such an investment in your own health and your own business that you can see in the future how much it will pay off. So that's one example. Another is a recent guy I've taken on, a guy called Sham. He owns a high-performance vehicle rental and sales of cars in Mayfair in London. and some really top end cars. But he's always busy. It's always something going on with the business. Really high stress. Always on the phone, always moving.